See, Tuek, your mind, it is like a gun. And you want to load it up with little itty bitty bullets of knowledge.
What's going on, family? It's your guy Boro, the Lucky Libra, and thank you for tuning in to another one. Alright, as you can see by the title, we're picking up the Debilitation series with the Libra Archetype. Alright, so before we get into it, y'all make sure to tap into my website to connect with the Lucky Libra, and make sure y'all tap into my Patreon, where I'm getting into celebrity synastry breakdowns, deeper analysis, monthly classes, which we have going on this weekend, and more. Alright, so let's get right into it. Now, when we're talking about the debilitation of a zodiac sign, that is a part of the archetype of a zodiac sign, as much as the ruling planet, the element, and the modality is. All right, when we talk about the debilitation and the fall state of a sign, us understanding the debilitation and the fall state of our zodiac archetype helps us to understand the energy that we may be uncomfortable dealing with, that we may not know how to properly, efficiently deal with when we come in contact or experience that energy. We may develop insecurities dealing with the energy, may some vulnerabilities dealing with the energy, all right? May not see, feel, or think right with that energy. So this is why it's important for us to understand this is our natural archetype. And even if this isn't your sign, all right, even if you're watching this right now and you're not a sun, moon, rising Libra, you're watching this to learn, or whatever, you're watching this to learn about somebody else, understand that you have Libra somewhere in your natal chart. So that area of life, that house, is being affected by the archetype of Libra, which would be cardinal air, ruled by Venus, with a Saturn exaltation and a Mars debilitation and a Sun in its fall state, which we're about to get right into. So when we look at the archetype of Libra, cardinal air, all right, cardinal, starting, initiating, the leader, pioneer, wills in you, all right, and air dealing with logic, communication. It connects, it carries, it sends, it relates. So air is going to deal with communication and logic and our thoughts off rip, all right, our ideas. And so Libra being cardinal air, they're the leaders of how we deal with the logic. They're the leaders of how we deal with communication. They're the leaders of the relationship sign. All right, because it's cardinal, so they start and initiate communicating the idea. Okay, they start and initiate forms of relatability and being able to play out examples of what balance and harmony is, because they got the Venus influence thrown in the archetype. And Venus deals with our values, what we love, appreciation, what we connect into, relatability, all right, our support system, our values, okay, our pleasures. So Libras are gonna create new ways to communicate what they value. They're gonna communicate their values. So it's not necessarily saying like I value this and that third, but whatever it is that a Libra values with that Venus energy, whatever they love, appreciate, expect that Libra to talk a lot about it. Air sign gonna talk some. Okay? Expect them to want to connect that to others. Expect them to have a sense of fairness in their relationship and how they deal with others. Expect them to pick out when they're being taken advantage of and know when they being toxic and manipulative, because they are the leaders of the air signs. So they already naturally inhibit energies dealing with relationships. All air signs, they already naturally know how to work a relationship. Now we got squares, oppositions, and all of that towards Venuses and Suns and all of that, but overall air signs have a certain innate wisdom on how to deal with communication and relating to others by default. So when we get into debilitation, what's the opposite? What zodiac sign is on the opposite end of the axis with Libra? The Aries constellation. What planet rules Aries? Mars. So off rip, by default, Mars is debilitated in Libra. This energy is opposite to Libra, uncomfortable with Libra to deal with. And what is Mars? Mars is your passion, your intentions, how you set your intentions overall. All right, your motives, your motivation, period. Okay, your willpower, your charge, your vitality. Okay, and when Mars don't get to connect to its goals and its ambitions, All right, the things that is passionate and motivated about, it could turn into anger and frustration because Mars ain't got the time, Mars ain't relating. And that's the thing here. When we look at the Libra archetype, Libras, and this is coming from a Libra, y'all. This is coming from a Libra, okay? So I'm giving the real spill. When it comes from a Libra point of view, when it deals with them having to be intentional with their own individual way of asserting themselves, they may need the support of somebody else. Mars don't deal with having to rally up a party or rally up an army. Mars ain't the army, it's the soldier. So when you look at a Libra needing to be able to place intentions on what they want to do, act on it, not relate it, be individual with that, and go through that experience on their own, that's something that Libras don't be doing. And it takes a lot of experiences for them to realize they can't be doing everything in relationships and with people to the point that they jump into the energy that we talk about, you overdoing your debilitation as well, because then you have a Libra that'll jump into just being super selfish into themselves because that wasn't reciprocated, because they was trying to balance with others and others was doing their individual thing and they had to learn that way to do their individual thing. So we always going to manifest lessons with our debilitations, and Libras, you guys are going to get pushed into a lot of scenarios where you're forced to be individual, you're forced to do things and see things your way. Okay, so with Mars being debilitated here, Libras can, they can lack what they feel like. They could feel like at times they need an external source to motivate them. All right, the motivation factor could be low for Libras at times. Motivation factor could be low for Libras at times. Be lost in the head a little bit with their thoughts, a little too scattered, and it's like, yo, what are you getting intentional about, Libra? You floating out here, Libra. What's your true passion? What's your true motives, Libra? Okay? You in too many relationships, Libra. Everything you doing with somebody else, Libra. Okay? You need to get focused and dialed into your self-identity and what your true passions and motives are. Because you're missing time and opportunities to embark on these things, that feeling like you need to relate something to somebody all the time. So this is like how Libras is dealing with debilitation of Mars here. A lot of Libras could get bullied. A lot of Libras could get bullied, taken advantage of, especially when they're young. They ain't got no real strong Mars aspects, and I got bullied and I have strong Mars aspects, very strong Mars aspects. Okay, my moon and my rising is Mars is exalted in Capricorn, and that's my moon and my rising. And I got moon sextile Mars, and I got Mars in Scorpio in the 10th house. So I had strong Mars alignments, and I still dealt with that shit. So that shows you that sun is what you see. You picking up all these little other influences and whatnot with your feelings and whatnot, but that sun is just what is the illusion of what you're paying attention to. And through a Libra's point of view, with Mars being debilitated, they don't want to clash. They don't want to bump heads. They want to agree to disagree as much as possible. They's not trying to step over people's toes and none of that. So the times that's needed, a lot of Libras may get bullied, taken advantage of, or experience a lot of passive scenarios in order to switch that flip. Flip that switch. So switch that flip. Flip that switch to jump into some heavy Mars energy now. Or just be really conscious of how they deal with people, how they connect with people, because they understand that the way they naturally are open to communicating, relating, they wearing a smile on their face by default, because the sun is in a Venus influence in the sign. It's like by default, you can be open to people thinking you sweet, thinking it's all good with you. You feel me? You let anything rock. You let anything pass, you let anything go. So you're going to attract that shit, Libra. And you're going to have to jump into some Mars energy and understand how to deal with Mars energy. Because at times it's like you be a Libra flip on somebody in a reasonable way. Libra fuck around, flip on somebody that been taking advantage of them. And then feel bad after that shit. And feel bad after it. It's like, no, you did the right thing, Libra. Yeah, you did the right thing. Shit, you know you did the right thing. because you ain't really dealing with emotion. You're really dealing with logic. So logically, you know you did the wrong thing, but because it's the relationship sign, you always putting yourself in other people's shoes. It's like you pick that up a little bit, like, nah, that was too OD or whatever. So it depends what other alignments you got too. Because I'm a cold Libra. I'm a cold Libra. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that shit right now. Y'all probably picked that shit up already. Alright? Alright, you can see all this. You can pick that shit up. I don't gotta go into that. You feel me? But and when I say cold, y'all, you know, we speaking esoterically, so cold doesn't reflect the emotion or whatnot, so we just dealing with, I'm a very practicalized Libra, alright? Libra's already not dealing with emotion, but just based off my other alignments with my sun and my sun, my moon and rising, just hardens it up a little bit for me, alright? It emphasizes Saturn here way more, and Saturn's already influencing Libra. Remember, Libra is ruled by Saturn's exalted in Libra, so Libra's already overdue. Materializing people can be superficial, connect and linking and relating just to get by, just for forms of stability. Libras could be, what's the name, what they call it, hobosexuals. Hobosexuals, connecting just for stability, being in relationships for stability, being in relationships to have somewhere to sleep. Think I don't know? Stuff like the Libra. I'm the walking energy of it. So you think that we keeping it funky on here, alright? So, yeah, man. So with that debilitation of Mars, Libra, y'all gotta get real intentional with life. And y'all gonna be placed in situations for life to show y'all that y'all not passive, and y'all gotta learn to fight for yourselves at times. Yes, you have to learn to fight, Libra. And a Libra is a natural relationship sign, so they're gonna pick up what's in their environment. So if it's a Libra raised by some gangsters, the Libra's gonna grow it to be a gangster 9.5 out of 10 times. They can't help it. That's what they was relating to in the environment. They started picking up the words, the terminology, started developing the concepts, ideas really quick. It started communicating the lingo with them easier, real quick. You started at a young age communicating gang lingo with them way quicker than the gang members was when they was into this shit, you know. So it's just because dealing with words in the mind when we're talking about air signs. So, you know, Libra could come off all sturdy in that type of way, but that's still dealing with more so what they're gonna be taking action on and what they into, and it could help them develop some sturdiness being in that type of environment in some type of shape or form. Not saying Libras aren't sturdy as far as standing their ground, but the thing is, Venus just doesn't deal with compromising and relating. So this is why we're dealing with justice with Libras. This is where justice comes into play, because justice is what is the result of motherfuckers that ain't necessarily trying to clash, but have to resort to certain things to handle disagreements, to handle where things went wrong. All right, giving deserving results to forms of action. That's what Libras are able to see perfectly. So, you know, this Libra could grow up in that environment, whatever, be all tough or whatever, but then when we still get down to the natural energies of things, this Libra still may have to learn self-identity, because what they adapted, the person that they are, is just heavily a product of their environment, and it's hard for them to dive into the things, you know, that they was personally invested in, or they want to be personally invested in, and how to lock in on that, okay, and not feel the need to do that in a group form, in a relationship form. All right, Libras could not want to say no at times, just being ruled by Venus and Mars being debilitated. Just saying no sometimes may be hard. So this is what we're dealing with the debilitation of Mars. All right, Libra, you have to be real intentional. You have to understand what your passions is, what your goals, what your real goals are in this lifetime. All right, and with the ideas that you guys have, with the ways you guys think, and with the opportunities that you manifest to connect and relate to others, and how you articulate yourself. When the more you get a hold of how you deal with your passions or whatnot, you know, beautiful things blossom out of that. Okay, just want to make sure get all that before we move on to the sun. You know, being taken advantage of, not wanting to clash. All right, overly doing Mars, because it's debilitated. So sometimes a Libra, you guys could overly be to yourself, extremely jump into solitude because you feel like you was done wrong in a relationship, and then now you could kind of trickle that into all your relationships now. So Libras, be careful of that too. Okay, now with the sun being in its fall state here. Okay, what is the sun? The sun is how we express ourselves and how we take action. I said Mars is our vitality. The sun is really your vitality, your light, your body, your appearance, how people see you, how you look, your charge. So when we look at the sun in its fall state, the sun is at its highest peak, strongest state when it's Aries season, when it's the start of the new year. That's when the sun is exalted, when it's in that first house space. So so now the sun is in its opposite space. This is when the sun is in its subconscious, in its fall state. It's resting. We can say it's sleep. Shout out to Dolo the Pilot Man. Shout out to the Soul Group. That's my teacher. Don't get it twisted. Alright? But for the most part, when we look at the sun being in its subconscious state here, resting, this is what is, don't be active with the Libras at times. Their sun energy, their actions, what they want to act upon, how they truly want to express themselves. A lot of ideas don't get acted upon because Libras are trying to think and strategize the shortcuts. See how other people do things, because it's always dealing with the other party, thinking about how other people are relating. Alright, so Libras will analyze the fuck out of how other people are doing things, and they will develop shortcuts. So, you know, they will develop shortcuts and see what they don't have to do that others did. So that's where the lazy shit comes into play a little bit. Alright, not a little bit, but like as far as Libras can be lazy, period. But in that factor, that's where it can help, I could say. So it's not even so much being lazy. It's just that with the sun being in a sleep state, this manifests into Libras. All their sun energy is like directed to the mind. It's directed to their thoughts. So they do a lot of action in their head, thinking they acting a lot, having a lot of thoughts, and you really just thinking a lot. So that is something you gotta be very mindful of, Libras. You gotta be very mindful of that shit right there. Being practical about the actual steps that you're taking, instead of just how you see things correlating in your head, how you're able to see certain strategies develop based off of what you see other people doing. But you looking back 2 months, it's like, damn, I done seen a lot of shit. I done thought about a lot of different things, but how consistently have I worked on something? So the charge to actually get up and act on things, go to the gym, start things, like doing something. Libras can have ADD. That shit could be the fall state. Once again, we could view it as a planet that's asleep. It's in the subconscious, is resting. So it could also feel very incapable and capable. It's in its dream state. So Libras be sleep when it comes to their actions. Be lazy, be lethargic. And it's what you gotta be conscious of, Libras. That's what you gotta be conscious of. So much, and once again, I got a lot of extra Mars alignments and everything, you know, with my sun being debilitated in Libra. So, and me being a Libra, so I understand, y'all, because I got passionate alignments, and that shit still, I understand. But we gotta get out of our head. We gotta be action oriented. We gotta do without feeling like others gotta know our plan before we do it, to give us confirmation of how things work. Libras, get used to doing things. Libras, get used to doing things, and then things happening for you, and then, you know, people checking up with you and being like, oh shit, word. Cause people already be used to you telling them things before things, your friends and all that. So get used to people like being surprised by the shit you got going on, cause you just be in your bag, like you're not out trying to relate it so much or correlate it so much. Alright. So yeah, with the fall state of the sun, you know, the way a Libra expresses him or herself, has to be conscious that they standing in what is it that they're expressing. Okay, letting that shit be seen and felt with that sun energy. And this also plays out energies where Once again, this actual archetype, actually with the sun being in this false state here, because the sun deals with acting, so it's in his dream state. So sometimes Libras are gonna think they can act on things that they can't do, so could create huge responsibilities for themselves. Remember, Saturn's exalted here too, so Libras is trying to manifest stability. The way they strategize it, and through the way that they're able to strategize things, and through mostly strategize things with working with others, for real, and how they see the world through relationships and networking and being a part of things. To be honest with you, that's how they see building stability. All right, working with the collective in some type of shape or form in our relationships. So you know, here with the sun being sleep, Libras, you gotta be real conscious of what responsibilities you putting on yourself. What you gotta be conscious. You gotta really look at your work ethic and see, hold yourself accountable for what workload you can act upon, or something you can express based off of how you've been acting or expressing things in the past to help you measure things. Okay. So you know, don't put too much on your shoulders because you got the idea thinking you can do this much in a week, or this much push-ups in a week, or do this or you know, read this many books in a month. You think it's easy to think that shit, Libra. It's easy to think, for you to think it. You do a lot of action in the head, but really gauge your characteristics and train yourself to be more assertive. All right, when it comes to not only taking action on things, taking action on your ideas, but also making sure that you're being realistic about the things that you embark on doing. And once you feel like you have to relate to somebody else, or you have to be so much involved with what somebody else got going on to get what you got going on, getting off the ground, Libra, you in the wrong energy. Libra, you in the wrong energy. Now, by default, you guys are in relationship signs, air signs, especially Libras, manifest situations where by default you can manifest situations to build with others. But is a difference between building with others and then you feeling that you need to overcompensate and align yourself with somebody else's concepts and the way they act and express things for you to gauge how to express or act on things. Okay, we could all learn from the external realm, but at the end of the day, Libras, you got to understand that you are Libra because part of your life path is dealing with building self-identity in this lifetime. All right, so family, that's what we got going on when we talk about the debilitation and fall state of the Libra archetype. Okay, next we picking it up with the fall and debilitation of the Scorpio archetype. All right, y'all make sure to tap into my website to connect with the Lucky Libra, and tap into my Patreon where I'm getting into Sinistry, celebrity breakdowns, deeper analysis, monthly classes, and more. Until next time, family, peace.